Welcome back to another episode of the Spaceman 2.0 Christos Kabbalah show, here to help you grow in the knowledge and wisdom of truth, and the truth will set you free. So we'll get back on into the teachings of the Tree of Life. Now, as much as this has been known to be a Jewish construct, we do use the Hebrew alphabet to make sense of the Tree of Life, but any alphabet can be actually related to the tree. And we can go over the amount of alphabetical characters there are in each alphabet and how they relate to the tree. But where did the Hebrew alphabet come from? Here's a little bit of history. So from this book, Sacred Wisdom, the Kabbalah, the essential text from the Zohar. Now Abraham was a Chaldaic magician. Chaldee alphabet. Chaldee. Every word is a number and every number is a word. So then you have gematria and all that stuff connected with the Kabbalah. There are no separate numerical characters in Hebrew and Chaldee. Therefore, as is also the case in Greek, each letter has its own peculiar numerical value, because they say Greek was brought in after and in relationship to Hebrew. Hence you have similar names, alpha, beta, gamma, or whatever, and that's the first three letters of the Greek and the Hebrew alphabet. So where was the land of Chaldee? Let's just see. So from this magazine of National Geographic, we have the Tigris and Euphrates there in Iraq, near Baghdad. So if we look at this area here, was named the land of Ur and Chaldea, which is where Abraham came up and around, gathered his followers, a mixed multitude. You can look that up in the Zohar. I'll show you that another day. Comes down into here. Who did he gather as he came up here? Maybe some of the Scythians and the Khazarians who like to take on any look and any design in order to spy and become one within that civilization, so that they can use their power to get their own people into the trade route of the world, the greatest trade routes of the world. The Khazarians ruled it back in the day, and in 740 AD they took on the religion of Judaism. So could these same pillagers, ravagers, trade route taxmen, pirates of old, between the Caspian and the Black Sea, between the Khazar Sea and the Black Sea, the Russians know this as the Khazar Sea, so could this be the cause of most problems in the Middle East? So getting back to Abraham being from the land of Chaldee and the Tigris and the Euphrates, coming up and around, gathering his followers. With that being said, let's get back on into parts of the Kabbalah. So before we go into the Kabbalah further, there's 4 different aspects to the Kabbalah, which is made up of, and in the Old Testament too, the practical, the literal, the unwritten, and the dogmatic. And we'll get into aspects of that, which include not only the first practical one is their magical rituals, but the literal is taking it literal. And then there's gematria and notariakin, which is basically acronyms, and tamura, which is basically taking codes out of each word. First letter, last letter, middle letters, middle initials, making it another word. There's all sorts of word games played. But gematria is, like this said over here, each letter has its own peculiar numerical value. And from this circumstance results the important fact that every word is a number and every number is a word. So remember that when you type in www and look up what www is. Let's see right here. Okay, a V is also known as a W in Hebrew. So we got 666. Hebrew and Chaldee letters together, because they're the same thing. So where do we get Chaldee? So each letter represents not only a letter or a significance of a name, an ox, a house, a camel, but also a tarot card as well. That this is a significant part of the 22 aspects. There's 22 aspects to your skull. There's 52 aspects to your brain, 52 weeks to a year. And the 22 aspects to your skull also relate to the 22 big, great periods that I went into another day with Darkness and Delight, Divine Plan, Volume 1. So why do I bring this up? It's because everyone thinks that the Tree of Life is just a Hebrew, manifested from the Hebrew people or Judaism, but it's not. It's as ancient as time itself, because the Tree of Life comes truly from the Flower of Life. So there's a picture of the Flower of Life, The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 2, by Drunvalo Melchizedek. But within the Flower of Life is all the sacred geometric forms, platonic solids, and the Tree of Life is included. All the Hebrew letters as well can be characterized by these designs here in the Tree of Life. I've already tried to show Sanskrit as well, and I will show that another day. So fitting into the Flower of Life is the Tree of Life, and this gives an understanding of the entire universe broken up. Now, relating back that it's not the only history of the Tree of Life is not just Hebrew, but it's also from our Native Americans. And how do you show that? Well, you have these three pillars here that make up the Tree of Life. And you have the four elements down below in the number 10, Malkuth. Whoops. But up here, you have red. This yellow one should be here, yellow. Then this looks a bit more white. So you have white, yellow, and red. And black could be Dath, which is knowledge. So even though this one's white, the wisdom is over here is white, yellow, red, and Dath is black. So with that being said, let's see how this relates to our Native American culture. So on the cover of Little Crow's book, From the Gathering, you have the four virtues we're supposed to develop on the medicine wheel. And you have the colors black, white, red, and yellow. Just like as the Tree of Life. The red can represent the blood, the white, the bones, and the yellow, the bone marrow, which is where the blood is coming from. The red can also represent the muscular system, okay, the nervous system, the digestive system, and our skeletal system. But this is basically represented in the Tree of Life. So another day I'll get into why these characters are put here on these paths, but Shin, Mem, and Aleph. Those are the three mother letters of the Hebrew alphabet. They represent the spirit of fire, the soul of water, and the spirit of air. Basically, the three mother letters of the three basic elements of creation. And when those three are mixed together, we get the creation of the third dimension, or earth, which is Malkuth. But with that being said, Mem, the waters, created into a physical structure of earth. So Mem can have two aspects. They call it Mem final. So therefore, you have the waters on top of the earth that sit on top of the earth, and the earth itself. So you have Mem and then Mem final. So if you put these three letters right here, you can illustrate them by putting them here. Shin, Aleph, Mem, the waters, and Mem of the physical creation, the earth. So the waters that sit on the earth. But there's waters above as well. That He, is situated there for the name of God. Yod, He, Vo, He. We'll get into another day why these letters are situated here. Has to go along with the tarot cards, and we'll get into that, which symbolize deeper aspects of our psychology and understanding of our true self. Now, Shin is the ultimate fire principle. Aleph is the ultimate air principle. And Mem is the ultimate water principle. We see with our eyes. Our eyes are known to see by the fires of life. So Shin represents, eyes represent fire. Aleph, we breathe in through our nose and out. We can also breathe out through our mouth. But again, our nose is represented as Aleph. The mouth takes in fluids, liquids, Mem, and then Mem final, the food we eat in the same mouth. So you have the tongue and the lips and the mouth, and that's what takes in the two parts, so you can have the two aspects of the earth, Mem and Mem final. Aleph is air, Shin is fire, which is your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. This principle is on every living creature. If you look in animals, you have Shin, Aleph, Mem, and then the final Mem. So with that being said, you can get into the four elements represented by the name of God, Yod, He, Vo, He, and you got Yod, He, which is the waters above, in the clouds above us. The firmament could be the waters above the firmament as well, because Vau represents the vault or your diaphragm, as well as the heart and the spine. The He below represents, remember, the Mem below. Within the airs is actual water, so don't get too confused with the placement of these letters. Shin, Aleph, Mem, Yod, He, Vo, He. So may the Spirit of God be in your heart, and then you have the secret of Yeshua, or the name of Jesus, Emmanuel, Jesus, Yeshua, Yod, He, Shin, Vo, He. When the Spirit of God is placed in your heart, that's why Christ said, let me in to your heart, and you shall know the will of God. Because when you let the Christed love into your heart, you shall know the will of God. And how is that? Because with these four letters and this one here, so basically with these three letters and this one here, four letters, you have the entire concept of the tree of life. Went over this another day, but I'll go over it again right now. So the first word for God up here is Ahaya. And then you have the letters for the name of God. You have Aleph, Ahaya, Ahaya. So you have this connection here with the name of God. Aleph, He, Yod, He. Then you have the name of God, or I am is Aleph, He, Yod, He. Then the name of God is Yod, He, Vo, He. So within, from here to here to here to here to here, is I am Yod, He, Vo, He, or I am God. So let's just connect those and see what it has to say. So I am God, which is Aleph, He, Vo, or Yod, He. I am Ahaya, God, Yod, He, Vo, He. So what does this say in code? We went over some codes of geometry and stuff like that. This is another coded way of showing the true teachings of the tree of life is hidden in 1, 2, 3, 4 letters alone. You have 4 fingers, you have 4 elements. The 5th is the spirit, the Shin principle. So What can this mean? I am God. Ahaya Yod He Vohe. And if you do this direction, Yod He is Jaja. What's the first word for God? Or in the second Sephiroth, the first name for God is Yah or Jah, because Y and J are synonymous there. Jah. And what's the third name, Sephiroth? The God name for it? Jehovah or Yod He Vohe. So it's a perfect illustration. Within the first three, you have Jah. So let's go back down. You have Jah, which means the will. Okay, this Sephiroth is wisdom, but is also the will of God. Now, what does Ahava mean? Ahava means love. So, what did Christ come to teach? Basically two laws. He took the 613 plus 7 Noahide, 620 laws of the Judeans that you can never keep properly, down to 2. Love God with all your heart, soul, and being, and love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the 2.